Like it's
Yeah, I know.
when
80% of the money's on it, then you'd think they'd want to move off of it, right?
yeah, but with the public leaning Chargers, if they move that down to 2.5, then they're scared of us a huge all the sharps coming out and hammering Chargers -2.5, and then you have all this money on Chargers -2.5 and Titans +3. So if it lands on 3, the books would just get screwed. We are live, by the way. Good morning to everyone. Hope everyone enjoyed their Saturday. I enjoyed the beginning of it. I enjoyed that Colts-Vikings game. But the night game out. Yo, by the way, anyone who follows me on Twitter, I was being sarcastic. I would never blame the weatherman for anything. Like, I was just playing around. Some people are like, "Oh man, you got to check the weather here." Like, it was just crazy how it was supposed to be this huge snowstorm, and then the snow doesn't start until midway through the fourth quarter. That's what I was commenting.
Nah, dude, it's that dude's fault. You lost your bet.
Yeah, it's him. I'm blaming it all on him.
Yeah,
poor guy.
the clown.
All right, so I'm sick, so this will be a little bit of a quicker than usual. I'll keep it to the basics here. The first game up is Falcons at Saints, and I am most definitely on the Saints for sure. I'm gonna lay the points. I'm gonna lay the 4.5 here. I'm also. I don't think I put this on the VIP ticket. Actually, I know that I didn't. But I also like the over in this game. Actually, hold on. Did I put this on? 1 second. I did put it on the ticket for a half unit. All right, yeah. So I'm also on the over. But the Saints I like better. So my reasoning is... So for starters, this is a spot I like with the Saints at home, not in prime time. That's when you bet the Saints in that 1 o'clock window at home in the Dome. They've been in that spot 5 times this season. They're 3-2 against the spread, but one of those losses was the game against the Bengals, where Jamar Chase scored that meaningless touchdown when they could have just kicked the field goal for the win. It was a terrible beat. So in reality, the Saints should be 4-1 against the spread in that spot at home, not in prime time. Another thing I like is the Saints defense finally healthy. People kind of forgot that Dennis Allen has had the Saints defense as a top 5, top 10 unit for like a half a decade. It's back. The Saints have not allowed more than 20 points in a game since November 7th against Baltimore. It's over a month ago. Actually, it's like 6 weeks ago. Wow. And now they're going up against a rookie quarterback making his first start. And it's not just his first start. He's never even taken an NFL snap before. Look, Marcus Mariota hasn't been playing well at all, so I don't think it's realistic to say Desmond Ridder is going to come in and be worse, because Marcus Mariota was pretty bad. That being said, I'd be really surprised if Desmond Ridder, in taking his first NFL snaps, goes into New Orleans, goes into New Orleans and takes over the game against the Saints defense. I'd be really surprised. Now the Saints offense, you got to give the Falcons defense some credit because they are not playing nearly as poorly as they were earlier in the year. In fact, the last 2 games, they only let up 19 points in both of them. But if you actually, overall, they're only letting up 23 points a game over the last 6. But look at their opponents. Pittsburgh, Washington, Chicago, Carolina, Chargers, Carolina again. So is the Falcons defense stepping up, or have they just played 6 of the worst offenses all in a row? The Saints, this will be like, I don't even think they've played an offense in the top 20 in the last month and a half. So, excuse me. Saints with healthy Kamara, Landry, Olave, Juwan Johnson all on the field. Offensive line's pretty healthy too. I don't think there's any reason to believe New Orleans doesn't control this game start to finish. So, I'm on the Saints.
Yeah, I'll go second. And what I like for this game is I like what you said a lot. I'm also going to ride with you on the Saints. But more so, my favorite bet for this game probably is the Saints team total over 23.5 points at -115. The team total set at 23.5 despite going under their last 4 or 5 games, averaging just 13 points per game. So why is that? Well, they haven't played a home game since November 20th, nearly a month ago. And with Dalton at home, they've gone over the total in 5 of 6 games, averaging 25.7 points per game. The only miss with Dalton at home, that came on primetime, and we know about his historical struggles under the bright lights. The Falcons' defense is 32nd in DVOA on the road and allows the 8th most points per game, 25.7 on the road. And the look-ahead total for this game was 41, and now it's 43.5. I don't think the books want us betting this team total over. And at 23.5, a pretty key number in terms of team totals, I like the value there a lot. The Saints usually always show up against the Falcons.
Agreed. Sean?
Yeah, I'm on the over 43.5 here. As Kyle said, it's Ritter making his first career start in the NFL. But, I mean, this guy is the most seasoned and experienced quarterback coming in this draft class, and also probably the most winning quarterback coming into this draft class. The guy's damn near a vet when he came in and got drafted. That's probably why he was drafted so late, honestly, is the amount of time he spent in college. And then I'm not sure it's a downgrade. It might even be an upgrade over the way Mariota was playing. But I also think they're not going to ask Ritter to have to go crazy in this one. The Falcons are 4th in rush yards per game, and their offense is actually 12th in offensive DVOA. So if you're telling me I can get a top 12 offense and now with possibly an upgrade at quarterback, I'm going to expect them to be able to score here. But I do like the fact that the Saints are 19th in rush yards allowed per game, and the Falcons are 4th in rush yards per game. I think they're going to be able to run the ball on the Saints defense and then just ask Ritter to make a play here or there to be able to put up points. And then, as you guys said, the Saints should be able to score all over this Falcons defense. They're 30th in DVOA. And then it was all the way back in week 1, and it was Jameis Winston for the Saints, and it was Marcus Mariota for the Falcons. But these two teams combined to score 53 points in the opener. I think there's a chance you could make a case that both offenses are actually better at this point in the season than they were then. I see this game clearing 43 easily.
All right, so we're all kind of on the same page there. That's cool. Let's move on to game number 2. Philadelphia at Chicago. And I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm wearing a Bears shirt. I'm repping the Bears in this game. I'm going to take the 8.5 points. There we go. Chicago plus 8.5. Let's make it nice and big. All right. So let me start off by saying I don't believe in the Bears. I was never really in on that trend where it was like Justin Fields running the ball. You got to bet the Bears. Yeah, they covered a couple spreads. But I think Chicago's the worst team in the NFL, truly, right now. That being said, this line is still super inflated. Laying 8.5 points on the road with an Eagles team that has the biggest game of their season in 6 days. The Eagles' run defense has gotten better, by the way, so I bet you're going to see a lot of content out there saying, the Bears can run the ball on the Eagles' run defense. But the Eagles' run defense was really struggling back in, October, early November. They've sort of fixed that. They've actually been pretty solid against the run with the additions they made. They brought in a couple guys. But still, nothing changed the fact that Philly's minds is going to be on the Christmas Eve game against Dallas. It's the biggest game of their season. I feel like this has backdoor cover written all over it. Eagles are going into Chicago. They just want their win. They want to get the hell out of there. You want to know what happened earlier in the season when the Eagles played Arizona the week before the Dallas game? They barely beat them. The final score was 20-17. In fact, Arizona missed a 43-yard field goal at the end of the game. That game should have went to overtime. So that was what the Eagles looked like in their previous look-ahead spot. Also, I don't know how much of a factor it is, and I almost don't even want to mention the weather based on how pissed off I was last night. It's supposed to be windy in Chicago. Excuse me. Which can hurt the passing game, obviously. And, the Eagles are beasts running the ball. So it's not like if you take away the pass game, all of a sudden we're looking at an even playing field. Of course not. The Eagles can still beat the Bears in Chicago running the ball. That being said, if you remove the passing game, remove the passing element, that definitely levels the playing field a little bit. Run game versus run game, that's a game the Bears would feel more comfortable playing. Obviously, I don't like the Bears to upset the Eagles by 8.5 points. on a game where I could see them really taking their foot off the gas. I'm on the Bears.
Yeah, I'm also on the Bears, and I'm also going to be on Justin Fields over 69.5 rushing yards. Okay, so listen, I know the Bears absolutely stink. This team is terrible, but I need to know why the line has moved from 9 to 8.5 despite the bets and the majority of the money on the Eagles. So I started looking, and I mean, Chase Claypool's out, Darnell Mooney's out. How am I betting on this team? But hold on a second. Guess who allows the most yards per carry to opposing quarterbacks on the ground? The Eagles.
I thought the Lions did. It's the Eagles.
They're tied.
Wow.
They're tied at 6.8. Yep. And we just saw the Giants and the Titans QBs in the last 2 games combined for 108 yards on 10 carries. That's 10.8 yards per carry. If you've watched a game of Bears football recently, then you know Justin Fields is licking his chops. And I'm expecting an unholy amount of designed runs here for both Montgomery and Fields. I'm looking for them to play the time of possession more than anything. If you look at the Eagles' weapons, I was looking at the prop totals. They're like suspectly low. I mean, Devonta Smith has his receptions total at 4.5. He's smashing that nearly every week. So that's definitely weird. And we know that the Eagles can prepare to stop a running back like Montgomery, but can they do it against the most elusive running quarterback in all the NFL? And I really don't know about that. There's going to be some heavy wind gusts. He's going to be without his weapons. I expect Fields to try and do it all today with his legs. And honestly, I think that the Bears defense doesn't have a chance. They are terrible. But their run game is going to be their defense today. They're going to try and take as much time off the clock as possible. And if I'm going to get 8.5 points, I'll take it. Let's not forget this Eagles team 2-4 against the spread on the road.
Yo, someone in the comments just called Sean an alcoholic.
It's like a weird roast. It's a weird roast.
All right, Sean, I know you're on the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm on the Eagles here. I agree with AJ. I think Justin Fields can go wild here on the ground game. I like that rushing prop that he gave out. That being said, that is the only way the Bears are going to be able to move the ball in this one. So if you're telling me it's going to be Justin Fields rushing is going to keep pace with this Eagles offense, I just can't see it. But somebody else in the comments said, do you guys like the over in this one? I think if you like the Bears, that correlates to an over because I think the Eagles are easily going to walk to 30 points here versus Bears defense. And that's why I'm betting the Eagles. I don't think the Bears sniff 20 points in this one. No Mooney, no Claypool for this Bears offense. Down the top 2 weapons in the pass game. They're already 32nd in pass yards per game. And now, in this Eagles defense is first in pass yards allowed per game. And the Eagles, like Kyle said, people are going to say, "Oh, well, they can get it done on the ground." Well, I agree. Fields can have a good day rushing. David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert, the running backs, aren't going to be able to. The last 4 weeks of this Eagles run D, Saquon Barkley had 28 yards rushing last week. The week before that, Derrick Henry had 30 yards rushing. The week before that, Aaron Jones only had 43. And then Jonathan Taylor was the last back to even clear 80 at 84 yards. And 60 of them came on the first drive. So after that first drive, they completely shut Jonathan Taylor down. I just don't think the Bears are going to be able to run a run-heavy offense in this one because they're going to have to try to keep pace with this Eagles offense, who's second in DVOA. And they're going to hang up a big number in this one. And I don't think this is like a trap spot or a look-ahead spot for the Eagles because Micah Parsons came out and made some asinine comments about Jalen Hurts in the in the MVP race. And him and Maliata were asked about it in the thing, and they were like, "We're not playing the Micah Parsons. We're playing the Chicago Bears this week."
Yeah, I saw that. So stupid. Michael Parsons is what is he doing? It really makes me doubt the next one, which is Dallas at Jacksonville. And I put my pick up on YouTube for this one. You probably have already seen it. It's not even in my top play, so this is not one of my favorite ones. I am on Dallas, but I 100% could see if you're on Jacksonville. Everything I just said about the Eagles being a look-ahead spot, you can say the same exact thing for the Cowboys, because obviously they have the Eagles on deck as well. The difference I'm seeing is laying 4 points instead of 8.5. Obviously, I feel a lot more comfortable laying 4. Also, the Eagles are like in cruise control right now. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys just limped through a Houston Texans win. So I think the Cowboys are in a little bit of more of a wake-up call spot. If the Cowboys had blown the Texans out like they were supposed to last week, I would 100% be betting Jacksonville here. But it's not like they won a close one. They should have lost. The Texans had the ball on, what was it, 1st and goal on the 4? And didn't score. And then the Cowboys drove all the way down the field to win.
They actually, if you watch the game, they actually scored on 2nd and goal.
But
the refs marked them short, and the Texans were like, nah, we're good. We won't challenge.
100%. 100%. Because they were like, we're going to score on the next play anyway. And then they ended up not scoring. But I agree. I thought they were in on that play, too. I know exactly what you're talking about. So that is the main factor, is I think the Cowboys... that was like yo, guys, holy shit, we got to play here. That we're not going to be able to just skip our way into the playoffs. I get it if you're on Jacksonville. Like I said, this isn't in my top bets or anything. It is on the VIP ticket, and I will be playing it. But I just think the talent disparity between the Cowboys and Jags is too great. And like I said on YouTube, this was my main factor. Not only what the Cowboys coming off that game with the Texans, but also the Jags' run defense seemed to have disappeared. The Jags were actually playing the run pretty well earlier in the season. What's going on? Because if you look at in the last month, teams are just running all over Jacksonville. And if the Cowboys are going to give 15 carries to Pollard, 15 carries to Elliott, I mean, they're going to have 4.5 yards of carry. That's 150, 160 yards of offense just right there. I think the pass rush forces Trevor Lawrence into a turnover or two also. Gentlemen?
Yeah, so I didn't ride with a side on this game. It's super, super tough, honestly. It's really hard. Not much in terms of line movement either to get a read on, so I'm not making a pick there, but I do like Trevor Lawrence to go under 251.5 passing yards, minus 120. I think that he's highly overvalued in the statistical department over the last 5 weeks, because guess who we just played? The 22nd, 23rd, 29th, 30th, and 32nd teams in pass yards per game allowed. So we just played a bunch of very easy defenses in terms of passing yards. All those teams are also in the top, amongst the 10 highest in opponent pass play percentage allowed. And I think that against the Cowboys team that allows the 2nd fewest pass yards per game and the 8th lowest in opponent pass play percentage, he's going to see some heavy regression here. We've seen Trevor Lawrence play 2 teams in the top 5 of opponent pass yards per game and pass DVOA this season, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Denver Broncos. He passed for 133 and 174 yards in those games, completing less than 55% of his passes and being sacked 7 times. So then I was like, let's go back to last season. Let's see if it's the same deal. Well, in his 2 games against top 5 defenses last season, pass defenses that is, he had 311 total yards against the Patriots and the Bills. This dude cannot throw for yardage against good pass defenses. And it's been quite a while since we've seen ETN get going. I think that is going to be the main prerogative of Doug Peterson today, feed ETN. And what I really like here is that I looked at the completions total for Trevor Lawrence, and it's only at 23.5, juice to the under, a total he's been smashing lately. If you look at Trevor Lawrence with 23 or less completions, he's 4-1 on the season to the under, averaging 192 pass yards, and all time, going back to last season, 15-2 to the under. The Cowboys have allowed just 1 quarterback to hit this mark all season long. I think they hold another quarterback under yet again today.
I like that. Sean?
Yeah, I'm on the over here. I'm in agreement with you guys it feels like it's a spot for Dallas to be able to put together a good performance. And again, I don't think it would be like a crazy look ahead spot, as I said with the Eagles, because honestly, I mean, the Cowboys are in a position now where if they drop this game to the Jaguars, then that game next week versus the Eagles matters even less.
Yeah.
Like the Eagles could honestly lose that game and then just beat the Saints and the Giants to end the year, and they still win the division and have home field for the playoffs. So I think that this game matters just as much as next week's for Dallas. But that being said, the Cowboys secondary is banged up in this one. 2 of their top 3 corners are on IR right now. And then this Jaguars offense has actually been way more efficient in the back half of the year. In the first half, weeks 1 through 8, Trevor Lawrence was 39th in the NFL in red zone EPA per dropback. Since week 9, Lawrence is 8th in EPA per dropback in the red zone. and second in EPA per dropback in general. The Cowboys have an injured secondary, and now they're going to be even more reliant on that pass rush to get to Lawrence to be able to throw off the passing game. And Lawrence gets rid of the ball in 2.3 seconds. So I'm assuming that pass rush for a majority of the game is going to be negated. But the Cowboys are first in defensive DVOA, so I think it's not going to be an easy day for the Jaguars. But they're 23rd in rush yards allowed per game. And like AJ said, I think ETN can have a good day in this one. And then also counter it with Tasty Hasty as they change the pace back for them behind ETN. And then the Cowboys offense is going to put up a huge number on the Jaguars defense as well. Because, I mean, where has this Jaguars defense gone? In the beginning of the year, they were a top 10 team in DVOA for a lot of the majority of the early season. Now they're all the way down to 28th, and they're 28th in pass yards allowed per game. And the Cowboys now adding T.Y. Hilton into the mix. I'm not sure if he's going to play today, but Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Dalton Schultz should be able to have a good game. I see a clear game script to where this is a high-scoring shootout.
I could see that. I had the over written down and ended up deleting it. I hope I didn't just accidentally remove the chat. Whatever. Hope I didn't do that. Still learning this software. I tried to lower the font size so you could see more messages, and now on my screen it's blank, so whatever. So, next game is Lions at Jets. Another one that I put on YouTube. So, as you probably have already... Oh, there you go. Looks like the... Sean, do you go both ways? So, I'm on the Jets -1. I actually think most books have moved this to 1.5, by the way. And I'm on the under 43.5 here. So, this one's on YouTube, so I won't even go into crazy detail about it. Basically, it comes down to the Lions have been awesome at home. On the road, that offense isn't nearly the same. Also, in the other two instances this year where the Lions have played elite pass defenses, that offense has just disappeared. Jared Goff's been terrible against the Patriots and the Cowboys. So I'm back in the Jets and the under. I don't see really how the Jets score points either. But the fact remains that this shouldn't have dropped so much from Mike White to Zach Wilson. You can say what you want about Zach Wilson. The dude beats everyone not named the Patriots. He's 5-2 straight up, 5-2 against the spread. His only 2 losses against New England. He beat everyone else. This Jets defense is really good, and I think they have the Lions' problems. I mean, if the Jets, I think we're looking at like a 19-16 football game, and if the Jets end up losing that 19-16, I could see it. But I'll take the Jets in the under.
Yeah, so my bet of the week, which, I mean, I don't know. I'm so cold right now in the prop department. The shit will probably fucking go the other way. But I'm going Jared Goff under 1.5 pass TDs. You could get that at -130 on Bet365, which is insane. I would play that up to -150. Pretty quick analysis here. Jared Goff, you want to know the last time he's thrown 2+ pass TDs? October of 2021. The Jets. The last time.
Wait. The last time Jared Goff threw 2+ pass TDs is October 2020. No, that's not right.
On the road.
On the road. Got it. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Yes. And then
he didn't say that. By the way, he didn't say that. That's why.
I didn't say on the road. Okay, no. I'm glad you clarified that. The last time the Jets have allowed 2+ pass TDs was Week 3 against Joe Burrow. They've just faced Kirk Cousins, Josh Allen. They've faced a bunch of decent quarterbacks, and they're absolutely shutting these dudes down. If he wants to beat me, if he wants to break both of those streaks, go right ahead. But I think both of them are standing pretty strong right now. Jared Goff is also pretty terrible in cold weather. So I think everything's working for us. I see this game going under dramatically.
Oh, what is this supposed to be? The blizzard of 2022 out there today? Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm sure. Early hailing.
I think we're going to ban the word weather from this show from now on. No, let's talk about weather. Sean, where are you on this game?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with AJ. I am all over this under 43.5. It's honestly probably my favorite bet of the week. Wow. The Lions are healthy and they're rolling right now. That being said, their last 6 games, they've played one defense that I would view as like an above average defense in terms of EPA, and that was the Bills on Thanksgiving. They played a lot of bad quality defenses, and not to mention Jared Goff is a completely different quarterback on the road than he is at home, as AJ pointed out. But then also in cold weather, games that are below 40 degrees is considered cold weather games. His QBR is 30. So I am not expecting them to be able to do a lot on this Jets defense that is really good. Even though they might be missing Quinnen Williams in this one, I still think the Jets defense is very good. Obviously with Sauce Gardner, and they have players all over. And then you have I really wanted to take the Jets in this one, but it became a straight under look for me now that the Mormon MILF Hunter is in under center for the Jets. This offense with Wilson set football back 20 years. There's no way I'm backing on if Wilson's going to be playing. And then another big factor for me is Robert Saleh is is the head coach for the Jets. Obviously, he's really familiar with Jared Goff's game and tendencies from his time on the 49ers staff when Goff was the quarterback of the Rams. I think he's going to put together a nice game plan here to be able to limit this Lions passing attack. And then trusting both of these quarterbacks to stay under this number, I love it.
Yeah, to answer your comment that the Lions it's right here, you can still see it on the screen, Mike Ross. Lions have 3 really solid running backs for the snow. The thing is, if the Lions were running the ball like they were back in October, I'd be with that. But it's been a while. The Lions have been, not reliant on the pass game because the offense has been doing really well at home either way. But the run game has not been efficient at all in a while. I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I don't want to throw something out there. But I feel like every time I look at a Lions game, it's like 3.2 yards a carry, 3.4 yards a carry.
And there's certain times where Dan Campbell forgets he has DeAndre Swift on his team.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know if it was a slow recovery for the injury, but he came back from being hurt and had like a combined 7 touches in 3 games or something. But anyway, I can see a lot of people in the comments are strong in the Lions today. So next up, Steelers at Panthers. I wanted to take Carolina. Coming in, I was like, yo, Carolina looks good. They've been running the ball. They've been protecting it. But I can't. And you know what sucks? Is I had Steelers +3, and I think this line has moved to 2.5, which really sucks. So I'm on Pittsburgh still at 2.5, but definitely not one of my favorites. My reasoning for this. So, here's the reason that I was going to back Carolina, right? Pittsburgh hasn't been stopping anyone on the ground. Here, the last 3 games for the Steelers, right? Baltimore, 215 rushing yards, 5.1 yards a carry. Atlanta, 152 rushing yards, 5.2 yards a carry. Indianapolis, 110 rushing yards, 4.4 yards a carry. Carolina with Foreman's been running the shit out of the ball. These numbers are crazy. Ready for this? Since the Carolina Panthers traded Christian McCaffrey and Deontay Foreman took over at running back, it's been 7 games. Foreman's got 600 rushing yards in those 7 games, averaging over 4.4 yards a carry, and the Panthers are 6-1 against the spread since then. So Panthers running the ball, covering the number. That's what the Panthers have been doing since they traded McCaffrey. So why would I fade them here? Because in all 7 of those games where they went 6-1 against the spread, they were underdogs. Now they're favorites. That kind of changes the whole dynamic of how I look at this Panthers team. Also, the Steelers, remember I just listed off 3 games that the Steelers couldn't stop the run? They went 2-1 in those games. They won 2 of them and lost 1. And the one they lost 16-14. So they still would have covered this number. So even though the Steelers are struggling to stop the run, they're still winning football games. And I just see no reason to lay a full 3. Well, now a 2.5. But I just see no reason to lay points to the Steelers with a team that really I've just been betting because they're underdogs and they run it. I don't like them as favorites. I'm on Pittsburgh. Now that it dropped to 2.5, though, it goes from like a strong bet to like maybe 0.75 units tops.
Yeah, so I definitely like the under on this game. What is it at now? 37.5? 38.5?
It was at 37.5 this morning when I made the graphics. Let me check now. Steelers. Where the hell Steelers? 37.5 still.
Yeah. Okay. So since week 10, both of these teams are top 5 defenses from a DVOA perspective. And I'll also add on Steelers +3. I will be betting that as well. With TJ Watt on the field, the Steelers are 5th in rush defense DVOA. And without him, they are 26th in rush defense DVOA. And I know that J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards just ripped them a new asshole. And honestly, you could say the same thing pretty much about the Falcons' rush attack. But both of those teams have a rushing threat at quarterback. Sam Darnold, not exactly that. And I think that if they're just sticking to a standard running game, then the Steelers can defend that. Now coming off a tough loss with the Panthers clearly establishing that they're going to run it 80 times a game, Tomlin is going into that locker room asking the team who is tougher, and I think he coaches his team to be the tougher team. This is going to be a running game battle, and honestly, if I need to pick a running back, Najee Harris, he may have had a down game last week, but Najee Harris is rolling as of late. I think this is a nice little bounce back spot for him here today. And I think that the Panthers may have won their last 3 or 4 games, but against who? The reeling Falcons, the reeling Broncos, the reeling Seahawks. I think the Panthers are benefiters of some nice circumstances as of late. And that if you're going to give me points on the Steelers, I'll take them.
I agree with that analysis. Sean,
Yeah,
I don't remember where you're at.
On the Steelers here. The Panthers looked awesome last week. I mean, kicked the shit out of the Seahawks. But they had a perfect game plan. They ran the hell out of the ball. But Sam Darnold in that one, his average depth of target was 4.2 yards. He was checked down Charlie. That game plan is going to be hard to replicate versus Steelers D. That AJ said they do struggle versus mobile quarterbacks, but for the most part, I believe they do stop the run, and they also don't really miss tackles. So if the Panthers are going to be dumping it off to short passes, and then hoping to get yak after, they're not going to be able to do that. The Steelers are there. On the spot, they're going to wrap up and limit the yards after catch that the Panthers are able to get. How you attack the Steelers defense is downfield passing, and Sam Darnold is just not the quarterback that's going to be able to take advantage of that. And then for the Steelers offense, Trubisky does scare me having to back him, but Steelers players like Deontay Johnson, even the Steelers' number 1 receiver, has come out in the media and said he thinks Mason Rudolph deserves to be able to get a shot to play with how this offense has looked recently. So I think Trubisky is going to have a short leash here in this one. If he's playing like shit, turning the ball over, and just not looking good, I think it's going to be a quick hook, and you could see Mason Rudolph, who is more familiar and comfortable in this offense. I see the Steelers, both defenses, I feel like are going to show up. I do like AJ's pick with the under, and with a total this low, I always want to have the points with me instead of laying.
Yeah. Yeah,
one thing I just want to add real quick. I mean, how bad do things have to be where you're saying, I think we need Mason Rudolph at Q? What the hell? That is shameful.
Yeah, I mean, I like the under too. I didn't put it on the ticket, but I can 100% see. And like Sean said, I mean, at 2.5 is cool. If you can get this at a full 3, I don't know how you just don't play Steelers. If I could get Steelers +3 at a -110, it would be a full unit without a doubt. At 2.5, not quite as confident, but yeah. Next game, Chiefs at Texans, and this is weird because honestly, when I originally went through everything and what I do is I make like a rough draft of my betting ticket, and then I'll go back and revise it like 2 or 3 times before it's done. And the first 2 or 3 drafts of the ticket, I skipped this game because I was like, this is just some bullshit. Who wants to lay 14.5 on the road? But here's the thing. I've come around, and actually, I have 2 bets on this game, and I kind of like them. I'm on the Chiefs, and I'm also on Houston team total under 16.5, get it at -105. I don't want to lay 14.5 points on the road. That's crazy, especially with the Chiefs, like the ultimate sucker team to bet. Chiefs are, you know what? Why am I speculating? I have it all written down here. So, Public's on Kansas City again this week. Shocker. But I really understand why, though. It's Houston. Not only that, but it's a super injured Texans team. They were missing Nico Collins, Brandon Cooks, Derek Stingley Jr. But they were missing all those guys last week, too, I believe, or at least 2 of them. Did Stingley play last week, AJ?
No.
He
the
didn't,
only
right?
one that played out of that group last week was Dameon Pierce, and he's out.
Yeah, and Pierce, too. So they're absolutely decimated with injuries, right? Here's the thing. All the trends point towards a Houston Texans bet. Houston's only been beaten. Houston's only been beaten by more than 14 points twice this entire season. Kansas City, they're the kings of winning games but not covering the number. Chiefs are just 4-8-1 against the spread on the season, one of the worst in the NFL. 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 games. That being said, it's the perfect time to bet Kansas City. The line is clearly trying to get you to fade them. With all these injuries, Houston took their shot last week. They almost beat the Cowboys. They should have beat the Cowboys. Now it's time for some regression the other way. I like Houston's defense. I think it's undervalued, but I truly think the Houston Texans offense, even though they're playing the bum-ass Chiefs defense, I think it's held to 13 points or less. So I'm on the Chiefs and the Texans team total under.
Yeah. So if I had to pick for this game, the first half spread would definitely be my favorite play. We've got a Texans team that at home is averaging 6.5 points per game in the first half. Holy fuck, that's bad. And then we got a Kansas City Chiefs offense that on the road leads the league in points per game, 18.4. I could see the Chiefs just off the rip, just letting shots go and just putting them behind. I mean, yeah, that worked against Dallas last week. I think Dallas was caught a bit off guard. I expect the Chiefs to be a little more prepared than that. But I don't even really think they need to be. I think the Texans can move the ball a bit here. I mean, it is the Chiefs after all. And I've been waiting on a Chris Moore. I don't know if anybody knows who that is. He's been the receiver that's been popping off without Cooks and Collins. I've been waiting on his line all day. Still not dropping his line, and the game kicks off in 2 hours. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I wanted to play it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I'll just take the 4.5. No, I'll just lay the 7.5 in the first half.
Got it. It's at 8.5 now, AJ, just so you know.
Jesus Christ. Okay, sure. We'll do that.
I mean, what are the chances it lands on 8 in the first half? How do you even get to 8? 14-6
fair.
Would be the only thing I can think of. All right, Sean?
Yeah, I'm on the Chiefs. They never covered a spread, and now I got to ask them to cover over 2 touchdowns. I mean, but it's the Texans. Like, what am I supposed to do here? They're going to be missing Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins again, and now they're missing Dameon Pierce. So basically, the Texans are missing their offense. And then they also come into this already with the 31st ranked offense in terms of DVOA. And like Kyle said, I think their defense actually is pretty underrated. But this is the Chiefs we're talking about. And Kadarius Toney is expected to play in this one. Juju's going to play. Vontez Scantling is going to play. Obviously, Travis Kelce's going to play. And Pacheco should be able to run wild versus this Texans defense in this one. And then obviously McKinnon as the pass catching back can have success as well. I just don't see how the Chiefs don't score like 30 to 35 points in this one, honestly. And that should be good enough to get a cover with the lackluster Texans offense in this one. And then at this time of the year, honestly, it's super like there has to be like a super edge for me to back like a team that's in the Texans position where there's zero upside to them winning the game. Like we said earlier when we talked about the Cowboys game, they had a touchdown and chose not to challenge it because I feel like honestly in the back of their heads they were like, "Yo, we played competitive, but like let's not fuck up Bryce Young."
Yeah, right. Like why we want to
like so a team that honestly, obviously the players never quit, but there's just teams in this situation find ways to lose. And then additionally, I know it's not like a plus EV type of play, because really you should only ever tease if you're going through the numbers 3 and 7. That's where it mathematically makes the most sense. That being said, if you want to tease the Chiefs down to 8.5 for the game and limit like big backdoor potential with like your favorite bet of the day, like whatever your favorite bet is, just tease that with the Chiefs and get them to 8.5. I think that's a pretty solid way to go about this as well.
All right, so it looks like we're all
I don't mind that.
Another game where we're all kind of on the same page. Next up, Patriots at Raiders. I'm on the Raiders. I know it's super square, and AJ hates it. I think AJ's on the Patriots.
No, I changed my side. I changed my goddamn tune.
You changed your tune?
I changed my tune.
Well, all right. AJ changes his tune. I'm on the Raiders. This line just moved from 1.5 to 2, by the way. So I'm laying the 2 with the Raiders. The truth is, if you take out last week's game against the Rams, that Thursday night game where they lost, the Raiders have been playing solid football for a month now. And that Rams game was a terrible spot. Going on the road on Thursday Night Football just sucks. It's a terrible spot to like evaluate a team and where they're at. We saw the Eagles struggle in Houston on the road on Thursday Night Football. It's just like, it's shit. Thursday Night Football sucks. So I'm not going to let that game knock me off the Raiders, who I've been cashing bets with. I actually faded them. I had Rams plus 6 or whatever, 6.5 on Thursday Night Football. But I've been betting the Raiders a lot, and I've been cashing during this hot streak, and I'm going back to it. And the Patriots defense, we all have it in our head that this Patriots defense is really good. Certainly not against the run. This is 3 weeks in a row where the Patriots defense has just been anything but impressive. I mean, even last week against Colt McCoy and the Cardinals, Arizona rushed for 113 yards on just 22 carries. And Colt McCoy actually put up some decent numbers. The Cardinals just cannot finish drives and just cannot convert third downs. But we'll get to that when we get to the Cardinals game. Josh Jacobs, he's averaging over 145 rushing yards a game in the past 4 games. I wrote that down. Let me make sure that's right, because that sounds crazy. I just want to make sure. Hold on. Last 4 games, Josh Jacobs. Yeah, because he had that 229-yard game. Last 4 games, he had 99 yards, a buck 44, 229, 109. He's running like a man possessed. Probably the best running back in the NFL this year as far as production goes. And like I said, against a Patriots defense that's shown us again and again that they really struggle against a physical rushing attack. Now, do I think Belichick can cook something up to take away the Raiders' run game? Yeah, of course I think he can. But in doing so, I think it's going to open up space in the secondary for Adams, who also seems to be really starting to lock in with Carr. So I like the Raiders' offense a lot. And the Raiders' pass rush also seems to be coming alive a little. So if the Raiders are able to get out to even a 7 or a 10-point lead and put the Patriots in a position where Mac Jones needs to drop back to throw it, that pass rush can make a big play and force a turnover at any time. So I'm on Vegas.
To be honest, I don't want the Raiders to have a lead. I want them to win the game at the end of the game because they simply can't hold a league. One thing that I've noticed is that this Patriots rush defense, I think it's a little bit overvalued. To start the year, they were quite bad. And then all of a sudden, they started facing some weaker competition, such as the Jets, James Robinson and Michael Carter, Phillip Lindsay and Deion Jackson, Michael Carter and James Robinson again, a Dalvin Cook who was struggling. And their rankings started soaring. But look at these last 2 games. They let James Cook rush 14 times for 64 yards, 4.6 yards per carry. And then James freaking Conner, very inefficient back, ran 15 times for 85 yards, 5.7 yards per carry. What are you going to do against one of the best running backs in football? Another thing that I like is that I've shit on the Raiders from the start of the season, but I like the spot. Former players and assistants for Belichick are 19 and 18 all time against him. That's a 51.4 win percentage. All other teams coached by all other people, 33.1 win percentage. Since 2018, these coaches are 10 and 6 against Belichick, and former assistants, not players specifically, are 7 and 3 in their last 10 against Belichick.
Ooh.
I don't know if you saw the Raiders. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the Raiders game plan against the Rams last week, but it sure looked like a team that was looking ahead to this week. All they did was ran the ball. They completely abandoned Davante Adams in the pass game, and that was what was really, on top of Jacobs going off, Davante Adams going off through the pass game was huge for them. When they didn't go to the 2-headed monster, it screwed them. And as Kyle said, we've seen the Patriots defense be vulnerable at times this season. Jonathan Jones started the year hot, but we just seen JJ and Diggs put up numbers on the Pats in the last 3 weeks. I don't think there's any reason Davante Adams shouldn't. With the Pats coming off a dominant win that I think was a little overvalued against a bad Cardinals team, and the Raiders coming off the second worst loss in the past 5 years. Number 1 was the Colts yesterday. I love the spot for the Raiders to bounce back and win.
Sean?
Yeah, I'm on the Patriots money line. Honestly, I don't like this game at all. But I'm siding with, in my opinion, the better defense and the way better head coach. And then also, the Patriots defense has been struggling recently. But also, this offense has kind of got it going a little bit. 2 out of the last 3. Obviously, they got shut down by the Bills, but that Bills defense is very good. But 2 of the last 3 weeks, they faced teams that aren't very good defenses in the Cardinals and the Vikings, and they put up 26 to 27 points in those games, respectively. And I think they're going to be able to get around this number again here versus this Vegas defense. And then also, like, McDaniels has been like Belichick's son for like a decade, and I think there's a very good chance. I know AJ just pointed out the stats where assistants have actually fared well recently versus Belichick, but I feel like McDaniels is like a different type of assistant what Belichick had. I think there's a good chance he pisses down his leg in this one, and I don't trust the Raiders or this coaching staff at all. It's not going to be a huge bet. Certainly is not on my top plays today, but at plus money, I'm going to take the better coach team, in my opinion, and use the Patriots money line.
All right. Sean's on the Pats. Next up, 1, 2, 3, 4 games to go. Arizona at Denver. What an electric game this is, huh? Wow. Just wow. So, Arizona at Denver with no Kyler Murray and no Russell Wilson. What the hell? All right. So, I'm on... Jesus. Arizona plus 1.5. So, for this game, so not only are both these teams pretty much unwatchable, but they're both really injured, and I'm not even just talking about the quarterbacks. Denver's missing Cortland Sutton and that other guy, Kendall Hinton.
Mm-hmm.
That's
he's been nice lately.
Yeah, he's out. Denver might be rolling out the worst offense ever displayed in an NFL game today. And if you might be thinking, yo, Sauce, like, why aren't we hammering the Cardinals then? Because I don't really trust this team either. We saw them move the ball last week against the Patriots, like I was just saying. The run game was working. Colt McCoy threw for like 240 yards or something like that. They finished with 13 points. They're struggling to protect the football. They're struggling to finish drives. They're struggling to convert third downs. You know, all the things you need to do to win football games. They struggle doing all that. So obviously on a football level, like as far as which team is going to have more success moving the ball, I think it's clear that Arizona is the right answer for that. That being said, I mean, the best unit on the field for either team is still going to be Denver's defense. And I can 100% see Colt McCoy in Arizona controlling this game start to finish and still losing 19-16. Like, I can definitely see that just from, like, being held to field goals or, like, a stupid fumble on the 5 or, like something like that. I'm taking the Cardinals, and I think it's the right side. I just trust Colt McCoy a lot more than Brett Rypien, but I would not be betting anything heavy on this one.
So for this one, as you mentioned, the Broncos, they're rolling out the three-headed monster of Greg Dulcich, Jerry Jeudy, and Latavius Murray. Jesus H. Christ. While the easy route is to definitely just take Murray over rush yards and ride into the sunset, I think that Arizona is going to do everything in their power to stop him and to force Rypien to beat them. And when Rypien does have to throw, well, he's going to be seeing a ton of blitzes from Vance Joseph, and he's going to need to get rid of the ball quick. That has led to a ton of tight ends against the Cardinals going off. In fact, 11 to 13 tight ends that face the Cardinals have hit the receiving yards prop, and as a result, tight ends against Arizona are averaging the most yards per game, third most pass attempts per game, and sitting 30th in DVOA. We've already seen what Dulcich could do this season. He's averaging 45 yards a game, going over in 5 of 8 games. And he's 1-0 to the line with Rypien. We've already seen Rypien with him one time this season. And guess what? Dulcich saw a season-high 9 targets, converted that into 6 receptions for just 51 yards. The efficiency wasn't there, but the looks are there, and that's mainly what I'm looking for against a defense that is bad, like the Arizona Cardinals against opposing tight ends. I think the Arizona offense is functional enough to grab a lead, and if that's the case, the passes will start flowing, and Dulcich, he'll start going. Give me Dulcich over 39.5 receiving yards.
39 receiving yards. All right, got it. Sean?
Yeah, I love that out of AJ because I have Dulcich starting in one of my fantasy playoff games this week, so hopefully he hits that and also finds the end zone because I'm greedy. That being said, I've never done this before in terms of VIP, Kyle's seen it because he posted it this morning. I straight up passed this game. No Kyler, no Russ. Two of the dumbest coaches in the NFL going mano a mano. I don't think a sports book could give me a free bet and said I had to bet something on this game. I couldn't do it. That being said, for show purposes, give me the under 36.5.
Switch that. I put scared to bet. Now I'm switching it back to under. Under 36.5. Got it. All right, next game. This one sucks because I feel like it's such a good spot to play the Titans. Like, it's perfect to take that full 3. That being said, all these injuries, I am still taking the Titans, and I'm taking the over as well. So, in Tennessee plus 3, I'm taking the over 46.5. It's just, if it wasn't for all those injuries on the Titans defense, this would be like a hammer spot for me. I would love the Titans. If you're wondering who specifically is injured on the Titans, we'll go through that now. So Amani Hooker's out again. He was out earlier in the season. He came back. Now he's out again. And Tennessee's also still missing those same 2 corners that missed last week as well. Avery and Fulton are their names. And if you remember what happened last week, Trevor Lawrence absolutely roasted the Titans secondary without those 2 guys. So now they're playing a game without those 2 guys and without their safety Hooker. So the Titans secondary is going to be very vulnerable. And they're playing Justin Herbert and those weapons. So that's definitely scary. Expect the Chargers to score points. Also, Titans are missing both inside linebackers. Now, both of them have been hurt. These aren't like new. David Long Jr., I think he just missed last game, so he's been out for a couple weeks. And then Zach Cunningham's been out since like early November or some shit, so he's been out for a while. Point is, Tennessee's also playing this game without both their inside linebackers. Now, the only good news is the Titans on the defensive front, as far as the line and edge rushers go, should be healthy. So the pass rush should still be there. Run defense should still be good. But everything behind that is banged up. But here's the thing. Chargers defense is also really banged up, as I'm sure you know. Derwin James isn't going to play. Joey Bosa's still out, obviously. J.C. Jackson's still out. Wait, J.C. Jackson's... Yeah, definitely still out. You can make an argument that that's the 3 best defensive players on the Chargers. Out. So, yeah, the Titans defense is banged up, but so is the Chargers. I really don't see how the LA defense is able to get off the field. Derrick Henry this time of year has been good as hell over the past few years. Weeks 14 and on, Derrick Henry's the guy. I think he's just going to bulldoze the Chargers, and I'm getting a full 3 here. I like it. So I'm on the Titans with the points and the over.
Yeah, so for this game, if I had to give a lean, I'd probably go with the Chargers because all the money's on the Titans. I'm not seeing anything in terms of line movement, so I think the books do like the Chargers here. Kyle did bring up a good point to me, though, beforehand, that maybe they don't want to move it from a key number. So there could be that as well. What I like for this game, and it's a bit square, but I mean, when I go sharp, I lose. When I go square, I lose. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go with Justin Herbert over 298.5 passing yards. He's only hit this in his last 2 games before hitting it against Houston and KC earlier in the season. But here's why I like it so much. I mean, the run game is not there for the Chargers. They know this. They were able to exercise it a bit against Miami to keep them off the field, but it's not even worth trying against a Titans rush defense that is so damn elite. Now we got this Titans pass defense that is going to be without Fulton. It's going to be without Amani Hooker, and it's already pretty piss. I mean, they just allowed Lawrence and Hurts back-to-back with 360-plus yard performances against them. Both of them averaged over 8.5 yards per attempt. And this has also simply put the worst passing defense in the league on the road. Opponents on the road are averaging 303.3 passing yards per game against the Titans. The second closest team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. With Keenan Allen back, I really am liking what I'm seeing from this Chargers offense. We're starting to see Herbert take a bit more risks. And with Mike Williams back as well, I like the deep threat potential against a Titans defense that's 32nd in deep ball DVOA. I just think that there's going to be a ton of attempts here. Quarterbacks are hitting their high in attempts against the Titans on a weekly basis. And quarterbacks that I consider in Herbert's tier, such as Trevor Lawrence, one second. Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and yeah, that bunch, they went off against this crew. I think that the Herbert train is starting to pick up some steam. He showed up against the Dolphins, and he's going to continue to keep turning.
All right, Sean?
Yeah, I love this over. Top 3 bet for me today, without a doubt. I don't know if anybody has watched the Titans secondary, but AJ just pointed out they've been absolute dog shit recently. They're 31st in pass yards allowed per game. This Chargers team is 3rd in passing yards per game, and that's with their receiving core being hurt for a majority year. Now, like he pointed out, they have Mike Williams, they have Keenan Allen back. Austin Eckler is always going to do his thing out of the backfield as a receiver. So this is a terrible matchup for the Titans defense in this one. Now, on the flip side, what do the Titans want to do on offense? They want to be able to run the ball with Derrick Henry and then have Tannehill work the play action off of that. I expect them to be able to do that. The Chargers are 28th in rush yards allowed per game. Derrick Henry should be able to run wild in this one. That should set up the play action. And even with Treylon Burks, not going to be able to go in this one. The Titans have enough to where Tannehill can make some plays with the Chargers, probably committing to try to stop the run. It's easy over for me. Good weather in LA. The two strengths of these offenses match up versus the weaknesses of the defenses. I think this is a huge point explosion in this one.
Yeah, definitely on the over as well. Next game.
I seen somebody comment too. For the last game, they said, "Do we think the Broncos are tanking?" No, I don't think so because the Seahawks have their pick.
Yeah,
they don't even have a first round pick. All right, you ready for the comments to be really upset? I am taking Tampa Bay here.
Oh.
And I'm taking Tampa Bay team total over 20.5. And that's at an even minus 110. The graphic on the right says Cincinnati minus 3.5, Tampa Bay minus 3.5. Obviously, that's supposed to say Tampa Bay plus 3.5. I did those graphics around 5:40 a.m. Sorry about that. So yeah, I'm on the Bucks, and I already know the Cincinnati Bengals are the second most public play on the board. So I already know the comments are like, "What are you, an idiot?" from all these football geniuses out there. Trey Hendrickson out for the Bengals, and that is a huge hit. He's played in every single game this year. I don't even think people realize how important of a piece he is to that defense. DJ Reader's back from injury for a couple weeks, and yeah, that's great in defending the run. But as far as getting to the quarterback, Trey Hendrickson's their guy. Now, on that same topic, Tristan Wirfs is back for Tampa Bay, or at least he's supposed to be back. Let me just make sure there's nothing. Positive update on Tristan Wirfs. Looks like there's no update. He's supposed to be back. Let's just leave it at that because shit's unpredictable. But so, I love that matchup right there. You take the way these two teams are playing. You take away the best piece on the Bengals defense, the most important piece in my opinion. And then you add, in my opinion, the most important piece to the Bucs offense. Now I know no one talks about it because he's an offensive lineman, but according to Pro Football Focus rankings on efficiency, Tristan Wirfs is the best player on the Bucs team on either side of the ball. So you add him back and take away the best player for the Bengals defense. Now, he's not the best player on the team because I believe Burrow and Chase are both rated better than Henderson. But I think that's huge right there. I also think that this line just sitting at 3.5, despite the public being heavy on Cincinnati, I think the books are taking a position. I think they like Tampa Bay. I think they're comfortable selling all these Cincinnati minus 3.5 tickets. I think laying 3 and a hook on the road is serious. Now, as far as the Bucs defense goes, too, both Murphy Bunting and Antoine Winfield Jr. back. They haven't played in a couple weeks. So the Bucs secondary might be coming back to form. Jamel Dean just did get hurt as well, so they lose a corner, but they get both those guys back. So even though they lose a corner, they take a step forward in the secondary department. I don't think Cincinnati can run the ball in Tampa Bay. I think we're going to see a battle between Joe Burrow and Tom Brady. Obviously, Joe Burrow is better than Tom Brady right now, but that Tampa Bay pass rush and defense as a whole is better than Cincinnati's with the current pieces. So I am going sharp and taking the Bucs.
I'm gonna keep this stupidly quick. I'm gonna go with the Bucks too. But I would rather gouge my eyes out than watch this game. I hate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I hate watching this team. The single most boring team in the league, in my opinion. I'm good off this game.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, I'm going to be super quick, too. I think both of these teams are pretty even metrically. That being said, after last week's shit show, I went to a chalkboard and wrote 100 times, never bet the Bucks, never bet the Bucks, never bet the Bucks. I'm taking the Bengals. Every single week I talk myself into the Buccaneers, and every single week after their game, I feel like a fucking idiot. So I'm taking the Bengals.
That's pretty fair.
No,
Pretty fair.
seriously, because we had the Bucks against Cleveland and they blew it in the fourth quarter. Then we just had the Bucks against the Saints. They actually didn't blow it. They actually came back and won, but they didn't cover. So yeah, I feel you.
The Bucks are at home. That's the one saving grace. They're at home.
Also, they're I think as a home underdog. I think Tom Brady is like 16-1 as a home underdog in his career. They just haven't been in that spot many times. Mm-hmm. Last game, Giants at Commanders. I don't think the Giants hit double digits in this game. The Giants, seriously, I'm on the Commanders.
Okay.
I'm on the Commanders, and Giants team total under 17.5 at -105. I think is a gift. They really struggled to hit 20 last time, and that was in Giant Stadium. The Commanders, these two teams obviously just played 2 weeks back. The Giants had to go. Well, they didn't go. They were home. The Giants got the shit beat out of them by the Eagles in between now and then. The Commanders got to chill in the bye. So Washington essentially gets to play the Giants twice in a row here. Like I said, the Giants really struggled to get to 20 and force overtime against Washington at home. I'd be really surprised if they hit 14. There's a reason. This is the most Giants... Sorry, man. I hate this fucking shit. I hate being sick. Giants plus 4... Giants plus 4.5 is the most public play on the board today. So, and the line hasn't moved. So the books, like Washington, that being said, the books have been wrong a lot this year. But I'm siding with the Commanders here, laying the points and trusting that defense.
You know me, baby. I love them commies. Yeah, I'm gonna ride with the Commanders here. I like the spot a bit because they're facing the same team for a second time in a row, and they just tied against that team. They want nothing more than to go out and make it very definitive that they are the better team in this game. One thing I will say, though, and I have to mention it, the Commanders at home against the spread this year have been so dog piss. I'm trying to pull up the record right now, but yeah, they may be 3-2-1, but some of those games were just absolutely dreadful. The offense doesn't really flow as it normally would, and if you look at the splits within Terry McLaurin and Terry Heineke, not Terry Heineke, Tyler Heineke, it definitely shows that. The Giants defense, man, this is just a pure fate of Wink Martindale. If you're going to continue to run this heavy man coverage with zero cornerbacks against Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson and Curtis Samuel, like, you're going to lose. It's stupid. I don't get it. I'm going to go with the commies. There's a reason the books have the line at 4.5, which I think is quite a bit. And on top of that, everybody in the Mullers betting the Giants, no line movement, and if there is movement, it's moving towards the Commanders.
Yeah, it even hit 5. It even hit 5 for a few hours yesterday morning.
All right, well, Jesus Christ, then yeah, give me them commies.
Sean?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Giants here plus the 4.5. Don't love it. Again, like another bet where it's not even gonna sniff my top bets list. But we just watched these two teams play 2 weeks ago, and the game was tied. And honestly, the Giants had multiple chances to win that game and shit the bed in Giants fashion. But their offense is 14th in DVOA. This Washington defense is very good as well, though. They're 9th in DVOA. And the Giants defense is terrible, 29th. But this Washington's offense is not capable of really exploiting that. I think it's going to be a lot of ground game for the most part with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley for the Giants. And then on the other side, I see Brian Robinson doing the majority of the work for the Commanders offense as well. I just don't think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. Obviously, you see a total 40.5. The books are kind of saying that as well. So being able to catch either of these teams over a field goal here, because I could see this game ending like 17-14 or like 20-17, somewhere around there. Getting the points over a field goal here, I like it in a division battle.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to take the points. It's just I have this feeling. The commies are going to. I might alt team total the Giants under 7.5.
Also, isn't there a thing that Daniel Jones is like horrendous in prime time, like terrible against the spread?
Oh, is he? Oh, I should have looked that up. Doing a quick before we close it up. Doing a quick Google search. Daniel Jones in prime time. He's 0-9 in his career in primetime games.
Christ.
The longest losing streak in primetime games to begin a career in NFL history. Sheesh. Oh man, his numbers are bad too. That's awesome. All right. So yeah, we're good. So what I'm going to do is there's 2 bets of the day today. I'm going to post a link here for anyone who's interested. I couldn't decide on one, so it's 1A and 1B. So here it is right here in the comments. Gold and silver? Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that would be gold and silver. But yeah, there it is in the comments. And there's 2 parlays as well. And then Sean's top 5 bets are all the way at the bottom like they always are. So everyone, enjoy your Sunday. Thanks, as always, for watching. Me and AJ are probably going to do an NBA live show on Wednesday again, so we will see you then. Hope everyone enjoys their day. Later.
I should be in a much better mood for that one. That I actually win in.